Alright, listen to me, you knife-eared piece of shit. If you go any further with your piss-stained pubic hair you call a wig, I'm gonna wreck your shit so hard that you won't even be able to walk with your limp dick. I'm gonna shove my foot so far up your shaved bardic little ass that your breath is gonna smell like shoe polish. Then I'm gonna take that little red anal bead on your belt and push it in your face. I'm gonna flagellate you with my fucking beard. I'm gonna build you a pair of runic mechanical balls and use surgical precision to sew them to your groin. Where your manhood ought to be just so that I can kick them with my iron fucking feet, you twat.
So we just like basically started, so now I have to do editing because like I have to put this at the beginning of the show, and then I have to cut this in, the front part in,
yeah,
and then make it line up because we were talking about Toriyama,
yeah,
and yeah.
The one thing that Twitter has shown me of how influential Toriyama was for the medium of manga / anime, where Mexico is
declaring a ceasefire.
Declaring a ceasefire, and then everyone's just rewatching this whole series. I mean, all of Mexico.
Yeah.
And second, sign language people, when you're doing the Kamehameha, you do the motion and people get that's him.
Yeah.
Like that, he has his own sign. Like that's kind of nuts. No one has that.
Yeah.
Like that's so crazy.
I'm like, yeah. We're talking about Toriyama, creator of Dragon Ball, creator of Sandland, creator of many manga, influential in so many ways. He helped
make artwork for. He did the artwork and story.
Monster designs for Dragon Quest.
He did most of the art for Dragon Quest because that's also still his artwork.
Yeah,
like he did a lot of that. He did any other game that's Dragon Quest-esque. He did a lot of help with artwork with that, and fucking what else? Like anything. Was it Bandai? I think almost anything Bandai.
Almost a lot of the things that were Bandai were his.
Yeah. Like he just helped with the artwork, and it's just they got him on the phone. They always have him on the hotline. It's the red phone that says Toriyama on it. Just pick it up, and then Toriyama's on the other end, just going like, "What? More? Yeah, sure. Yeah,
I think he also did a Halo Legends show.
Did he?
Yeah.
Huh.
I think he was involved. It's one of my favorites, but it's like not Halo at all
because it's like, so far removed.
Oh, okay. So basically, like Halo Legends was a collection of animes. It was a 5-series OVA series.
Yeah,
and Toei did one, and so they did. The first one is like ODST Squad goes into and they kill a prophet. The second one is the First Arbiter's Trial and Tribulations. Third one, I think, is a recap between all of Halo 1, 2, and 3, the Forerunner Wars, and all of that deep lore. That's no longer canon.
Okay.
Third one is The Adventures of Spartan Elite. or
Is that
Spartan 1337.
Is that one the Toriyama?
That one's the Toriyama one. And that one is like you're like, oh, like this is going to be good. And you're like, oh, like it's a Spartan versus a brute chieftain. And you're like, oh, this is going to be really bad. Like, this is going to be really bad. And it has, like, one of the most epic fight scenes ever because it's, like, basically Dragon Ball Halo.
That's
the dumbest show ever.
That sounds pretty rad.
It was great.
I can see. I always want to know is, like, did he do a lot of, like, shenanigans with, like, grenades and stuff like that in order to get the upper hand?
There's a couple bubble shield moments.
Okay.
But, like, it was, like, something where you're, like, watching it and you're like, oh, that's actually really cool. Like, I wish more Western properties would be willing to do that. And this was during the age of, like, the early 80s of, like, the late 2010s. Where you're like, oh, well, like, you know, this is kind of like you have EA doing an animated movie for Mass Effect 3.
I see.
And you have them doing like an anime movie for Dragon Age or Dead Space and stuff like that. And you're kind of like getting into that kind of multimedia period where you're like, oh, like you're actually trying to do stuff that's kind of cool. But it was interesting where you're like watching the show and you're like, I wish that they would do an entire series of this. Like, it doesn't have to be canon, but like, I wish they would do more. Yeah.
There's those things of like you watch this one thing and you're like, man, I just want more of this. Please.
Pretty much.
Just a little bit more.
Yeah, and like as I'm like, it's something where it's like I look at it and like we were talking a bit about Toriyama and my dog's being a dog.
Oh, your dog.
Yeah, she's being fun. She's very hyper. It's something where like as you kind of like watch more and more of. What the fuck? She's like, oh, Ken, make noise.
I must make noise.
Okay, I'm just gonna pick that up, throw that in there. Yeah, okay. It's something where as things kind of go on and it gets more and more obvious, like you're like, man, like Dragon Ball Super is actually a really good series. I should probably watch more Dragon Ball. And you know, you find out like, oh, he had like another series called Sandland.
Ah.
And you're like, oh, there's a game based on it called Sandland that's coming out soon. Well, maybe I'll play it and stream it. And you're like, man, it's just... Oh, that's what you were after. Okay. You're just like, oh, like there's more stuff that's kind of happening where you're like, man, he's actually doing stuff. And there was stuff of his that was still coming out. And you hear his voice actors talk about him and they're like, yeah, like I'm gonna miss him, he was a great guy and he never did anything wrong. And you're like, man, feels like a little bit of positivity in the world just kind of went away. What's your opinion, Josh?
It just sucks that, I mean, he was only like 65 or something. 68. Okay. Yeah, I mean, still young-ish, but at the same time, he was kind of old. Like, yeah, it just sucks that like one of the, again, most influential people ever for art just kind of went away. So it's like, well, that's not great. I'm sure there's going to be a lot of other people who are just going to emulate his artwork really, really well.
I mean, like, yeah,
like if anything, it's just going to further cement like the series brought forth so many things that you don't know about. And like, what else? Oh, and like, again, there's so many people around the world who felt so influential with the series, and so many also famous people on Twitter talking about like how, you know, when what's his name, Xavier Woods tore his ACL And he's like, oh fuck, that sucks, because he'd be out of commission for like months and months and months for waiting that to heal. And he actually used Dragon Ball. He watched just a lot of Dragon Ball at that time, and he's like, yeah, he got more. He felt like he could go back and do it again because Dragon Ball gave him the courage to do it. And like, that's like, it's insane how Dragon Ball and the series and the artwork, it helped people get through shit. So it's like it's sad that he passed away. So
I want to correct the statement. I want to add something to an earlier statement of mine. Sandlands, desert adventure story released in the early 2000s and later adapted in 2023 anime movie is due to be released on Disney Plus in the spring. This is from CTV News, Canadian journalist outlet. Take it with a grain of salt if you want to. Oda, creator of the manga One Piece, said Toriyama's presence was like a big tree to younger artists. It shows us all the things that manga can do. I dreamed of going into another word. Oda said in a statement, his death leaves a big hole to fill, Oda said. Big Studio said, thanks, fan, for more than 40 years of support. We hope that Akira Toriyama's unique world creation of creations continues to be loved by everyone for a long time to come. Like, it sucks.
Yeah. But, although another thing to add is all the little tidbit trivia facts about Toriyama and his work relationship with his editor.
Yeah.
Something the most, like, it's both like, oh, the love-hate relationship, if you can describe it that way.
Mm-hmm. editors like maybe don't have Kasuga get raped 5 times. Oh wait, that was Mira.
Oh fuck! One of the instances in the series where the depiction of his editor dies and he's an angel, and then that depiction of him dies, so he's just permanently deleted in the series.
I hate you so much, I'm gonna kill you. Suck it, bitch.
It's just like, so like, wow, you just fucking delete him off the face of the earth twice. Like,
fuck you. Yeah. But we have to talk about something else, Josh. We have to talk about tie into Toriyama stuff. We were talking a little bit about this earlier, and my dog is fucking playing with a bone. God fucking damn it. I should just lock her in a room.
Thank you.
Or get her an actual bone. I'll probably get her an actual bone when I get money. We gotta talk about Sweet Baby Inc. Or we could talk about Helldivers 2 and the octopus murders. What do you want to talk about, Josh?
I don't know. I could talk about either Magic the Gathering or psudoregalia.
So Sweet Baby Inc. Gotcha. Last week, we did a little bit of scratching of the surface per se on Sweet Baby Inc. Basically, what ended up happening was, as soon as we finished recording every Sunday, and we talked a little bit about it, and we're like, oh yeah, like, you know, I was like, I don't see this going up anymore. Like, it's not gonna, nothing bad's gonna fucking happen. It's just, it's too stupid to continue, and how do I put this? People continue to impress me with how dumb they are, and I'm a pants on head retard, so that's a very low bar to pass. But Sweet Baby Inc. Basically immediately afterwards targeted a Steam curation group called Sweet Baby Inc. Detected. In a pre-show, Josh mentioned that there was a group called Woke Detected. Basically, these groups were basically created in order to inform gamers of like, hey, like there's some woke shit going on in your game, or hey, this company's involved with the game. It's kind of similar to De Novo Detected. And apparently, because we can't have nice things, they decided to have a freak out session on Twitter. Tried to start a war, which resulted in everyone basically dunking on them. The group has now grown to about, I think, 1 million people. There's now a Discord server, which is fucking amazing, which has about 7,000 members in it. Oh, it gets so much better. And so, like, basically everything has kind of gone tits up. Wednesday rolls around. Kotaku releases an article. Sweet Baby Inc. doesn't do what gamers think it does. Long story short, basically, it's like completely misses the point of why people are upset. Basically, this person, it's written by somebody who Ground News says leans left. It gets a little bit better. This gets posted to Twitter. Gamers freak out about it, of course. What ends up happening afterwards is person posts on their Twitter account, well, I'm not being racist towards white people. So shit goes from 0 to 100 in about like 20 seconds. Twitter community notes it. And all the community note says is, here's the definition of racism. Yes, you can be racist towards white people. It's not hard. Person proceeds to get ratioed into the ground. They have now since protected their tweets. Multiple multiple news and game outlets have come out and started defending this shit. Yeah, it's this is basically, and while this is okay, well, let me finish this off by saying, while this is all happening, you have game devs losing their jobs en masse. You have Rooster Teeth, who is completely shut down.
Yep.
And you have people in the fucking media who is also not doing well, who is on the verge of losing their jobs because AI can personally do a better job and won't pick a fight with somebody on Twitter over their personal fucking beliefs. Is picking a fight with the consumers. You now have people like Stunner and Craig who are saying, they're going, hey, what the fuck is going on here? Driving a light on this thing, saying like, hey, like, shouldn't you guys be talking about this stuff? It's just outright insane. Hey.
Well,
yeah.
I want to add to this whole situation of like, yeah, like Rooster Teeth falling out. I mean, I was just more surprised how it just didn't really happen sooner. It just took this long for it to fall out.
Yeah.
And also, it was part of Warner Brothers kind of cutting everything off, isn't it? Warner Brothers has done two major things that I know of. They basically have said, we're kind of leaving the AAA space. Oh, they had the most confusing statement ever, too.
Yeah.
They're like, okay, so the game, what was it? The games for live service games, or the games that are single player is volatile, so therefore we're gonna make games as a service. And it's like, what? Do you know what you're talking about? Like,
no.
My God, yeah.
No, these are movie execs who should not be in games right now.
Fuck yeah! It's dumbasses trying to make dumbass decisions, and they're dumbass decisions, so they don't know anything. And another thing is that on Steam, they're also getting rid of all of Adult Swim games.
Yeah.
And it's going to happen on May, and a lot of developers are also super pissed because it's like they probably can't get their games back like at all
Yeah.
which sucks ass. And it's like, hey, you don't have to delete this. This literally is passive money. It doesn't cost you anything to keep it up, but they want to delete it anyways because it'll give them better profits somehow. It's fucking stupid.
They want to get rid of it so that way then they can say, hey, just so you know, I think like 95% of I think there's a ton of games like I actually really kind of want that like are Adult Swim games. Just so you know, we're getting rid of this so that way then it's a tax write-off.
Yeah, pretty much.
It's the dumbest thing in the world. I don't understand.
How many Adult Swim games do I have?
There's 45 of them. There's Duck Game, which I need to buy.
It says 21. No, 25. Oh, 4 is DLC.
Yeah, 47.
21.
I'm just
How are you getting 47?
I'm looking right now. Give me a second.
All right. Well, turns out of all these titles, I think I actually own half.
Okay. I think I own 2.
Because I just kept buying them on sale over and over.
Yeah, well, you're also a fucking crazy person. There's 25.
I am so fucking crazy. Oh, man. This Ghost Song game just came out on 2020.
Mm-hmm.
Like, this guy's fucked. He can't... This game just came out.
Yeah.
Like, holy...
Like, this entire... Like, okay, like, when people are, like, complaining about, like, oh, well, like, you know, I don't understand why everything... I don't understand why this game, like, why the gaming industry is going down and why everything... It's like, no, the trickle-on effect of this is, like, affecting you, too.
No, well, the trickle-down effect is that it turns out, when you have a art company making art and then you shove a whole bunch of people in there that don't know anything about art, they're just gonna go for money.
Yeah.
Like, this is what happening is that, there's too many people in the kitchen that don't know how to cook.
When you have people who are clearly making products that are not selling.
Yeah.
And they're in the community, and the community makes a group that says, hey, we don't want games that are made by these people. Maybe that group should not exist anymore, and maybe that company needs to go bankrupt.
I don't know.
I like the other thing too is like you're 100% right. Rooster Teeth, like, it was amazing that Rooster Teeth lasted this long.
Yeah.
But like, I remember like in college, people mentioning Rooster Teeth and being like, well, why doesn't anyone watch Genlock with me? And it's like, I'm sorry, like, I don't want to watch a series that, like, in watching like the trailer, I've already decided is already like, man, I'm going to like not watch the show because it looks terrible.
What show was it again?
Genlock.
Why I cannot remember this?
Because it was completely forgettable, and Rooster Teeth at some point was just the Ruby company that made Ruby.
I see. So what is Genlock?
Genlock was their mech version of Ruby.
Oh.
It was basically somebody was like, hey, wouldn't it be cool if we made a Pacific Rim?
I see.
And then everyone was like, yeah, that would be cool. And then they were like, wouldn't it be cool if instead of having the drift, we had like one pilot a mech? And it was like, yeah, that's cool. And then it was like, cool. Wouldn't it be cool? And it just progressively got worse from there. Wouldn't it be cool if we had a cutesy, funny buddy girl act cutesy and funny in her giant robot? And wouldn't it be cool if we put that in the trailer? Oh yeah, that would be so cool. And that was the moment that everyone was like, man, I'm checking out.
I thought everyone kind of checked out when one of like probably the best talent on Earth passed away.
Monty Ohm. Yeah. Because
like if it kind of felt like once he passed away, it was like a lot of people were like, well, fuck. I don't think the show is gonna hold up very well, and it kind of fell apart because he was actively holding up the show just by himself.
My personal opinion is Ruby was never really strong.
I mean, it was always the fight scenes.
It was always the animation was always what held it together.
Yeah.
But like the thing is like I'm like, man, if they made Ruby as an animated show with an actual anime department and it was Japanese dub, maybe it would be good. But I can't watch it with the fucking dub actors that they have, because fuck me. I hate it. And like I know why Ruby is popular. It's an actual like it makes sense. But like they fucking killed Red versus Blue for this shit. And it's like, you warned me. But Josh, do you have anything else to add to this topic? I know. I'm sorry for ranting for both so much.
I mean, it's finally people start realizing that like let's say other people of the industry start realizing, you know, going public is probably not the best idea.
No,
like for like Valve, they had two things going for them that made them like don't have to go public, and the reason why they're still around and they're the juggernaut that they are, is one, Steam, and two, like having a video game franchise, a couple of them that helped out quite a bit.
Valve is now a hardware company,
and now they're a hardware company making probably the coolest like handheld device possible.
Two of the coolest devices ever created are made by Valve.
And Proton. I don't think Proton's Valve.
Proton is Valve.
Is it? Okay. Yeah, like they're making such headways and everything else.
The only reason why I still record on Windows is because of Xbox games, and I want to play my Xbox games on my PC.
I mean, the only reason I haven't ever made a full switch to like I want Linux and stuff like that, because there is just no Linux platform meant for the common person. It's always a huge hurdle to figure out how it works.
I want to do a challenge with you one day
and see if I can actually figure it out.
No, do a 30-day challenge. Put like a sizable amount of money, like both of us are like, okay, we're gonna put like $200 or $500 or something in there. Where it's like we both put in money into this thing, and then we both are like, okay, if both of us can last the 30 days, we just are like, okay, we split the thing. Or we buy like another one, and then that call it a day. Whereas like if one of us fails, the other person gets that product. I would think that'd be hard trying to show if we're actively using it and not cheating. No, it's actually quite easy. How is that easy? Simple. Simple. Okay, Josh, you're gonna love this idea. You're gonna be like, this is a great idea. I'm just gonna have a computer in the shitter. You can you can use Windows. You can't use Windows. You can't use Windows at all. Okay. So we have to remove our hard drives from our computers that have our Windows OS, and we basically take them to a safety deposit box. Okay. And we deposit them in the safety deposit box. You know, I could just buy a laptop. Or we get a mutual third party. I could just modify something to probably have act like a computer. I mean, like, here's the thing: is like, yes, you can, but like the reason, but like the point is like you want to basically be like, hey, we're gonna force you to not use Windows. Okay. I mean, like, again, once you throw money in there, it's like it's just dumb. I could just do the challenge; that'd be fine. I mean, I want the reason why I'm saying to do the challenge is because I think it would be hilarious if like both of us had something where it was like. If I win, I get a new graphics card, and I don't have to buy a new graphics card. I see. And I think it would be hilarious if, like, both of us were like, okay, I'm going to play a video game. I'm going to play a video game. And it's like each week, it's like the challenges get progressively funnier, where it's like, you have to roll the card, this game. And you're like, fuck. I got to play this video game.
The although I think I know that you're pulling this from the Linus Tech Tip challenge thing.
Yes.
Yeah.
Where
And
it's like
that's also what I learned from that is also like there's not a single streamlined thing from Linux that makes it easy. There's not a single thing.
No.
Like, in another thing that doesn't help is that a lot of the Linux people fucking have a boys club, like the biggest boy club I have ever seen.
Okay, so
It makes it just impenetrable to be like, hey, how about you guys make this a little easier so the platform can actually take off?
No.
And they're like, no, suck a dick. And it's like, that's stupid. You're retarded.
okay, so here's my personal opinion. I like Linux the way it is.
I think it should be easier.
It's pretty fucking easy if you install GUI.
Sure, but it's like updating a driver is still a pain in the ass.
It's not as hard as you think it is. It's really not as hard as you think it is. like with an AI and stuff like that, it's a lot easier because you're like, hey, I'm having this problem, and the AI goes, do this, dumb tard, and you're like, oh, okay, and you're like, okay,
will this work? Oh, it does.
oh, it works. Oh, okay, thank you, and suddenly you're like, AI goes, beep boop, fuck you. Whereas like what people don't realize is like the reason why Linux is so good as it is because it's designed for programmers. It's an operating system designed for programmers by programmers. So there's stuff in there that's like, hey, like if you're a programmer, you're gonna want this, and you're like, yeah.
But again, like I get that, but at the same time, it's like I kind of want there just to be another operating system, just so that it's not just Windows and fucking Mac.
The greatness of Linux is the fact that it's not that.
Yeah, that's probably the point of
people were like, oh well, I wish it would cater to me more. It's like no. When you get into like talking like that, it's like you don't understand the reason why Linux is so good. The reason it's good is because it's designed in such a way where it's like you have to know kind of a little bit of what you're talking about. And you have to understand, like, okay, like if I do something, like I should not delete System 32 from my computer. Like it's designed where it's like, hey, this is a computer. This is the training wheels are coming off of the computer. Where every other operating system is like, no, bud, you must have the training wheels on at all fucking times. Or else. And like I understand like the reason why like people are like, oh well, don't you think that it's like no, like please no, just stop, please don't do this,
just stop it, just
and
stop.
like yeah, like you're a little bit right, like it is a little bit of a boys club where there are some people who are like, oh but I use, and it's like yeah, but like that's any community, that's a lot of people.
Again, I just argue that like it just feels this is even more bad simply because it's just that grown audience of like just neck bearded a-holes basically for like a chunk of it, and it's just like for fuck's sake, like if you want this to be like a more modern tool that everyone could use, I think making it like just easier to use for everyone would be beneficial, because that means you could get more people to use it and figure out more shit for it. Like if you could just drop the bar just a lower, like a good, I don't know, just a little bit lower, you can make this a hell of a lot better.
If you could put a training wheels mode on it, that would be great.
Yeah.
And it's like, and then you run into people like me who are like, no, fuck that, no.
Exactly. Like
period.
Again,
no.
my hurdle is just like, no, I like this to be just easier, because for fuck's sake, like I would love to make the switch of going over, but it's just I'm intimidated up the ass, and I don't want to freaking learn another language for like a year and still be frustrated with it.
I don't want to learn a new operating system and then for a month and then realize that I fucked myself on my first initial choice. That's basically what I feel like I'm hearing.
Like, that's like again, I'm so like, I guess it must be a problem of like, oh, I'm just more familiar with this and yada yada. But at the same time, it's like, am I gonna, like, how long am I gonna struggle for? That's another question. And like, can I get everything to fucking work?
I mean, probably. You could probably get everything to work. But like, the problem is like, this wouldn't. The thing that I find with Linux is it's a really good, not primary operating system if you want to use industry standard tools.
Yeah.
Unless you're a film editor.
Yeah.
And even then, it's like, people are like, oh, well, like, don't you think that Linux is like, it's like people are like, they don't like, the thing that pisses me off about Linux is like, it's the same thing that pisses me off of like, where it's like, Linux has a very clear targeted market. It's very important. And like, people don't understand like the basic things that make Linux great. Like, if you want Linux with the training wheels, that's Chrome OS. But, like, I don't want that. I want my computer to do computer things. And I want it to do it well.
Computer.
Computer do computer thing. Like, I get where people, like, are coming from when they're like, oh, well, I just want... And it's like... If you want that type of stuff, try Mac OS, because it's basically a Linux GUI. It's based off the Linux kernel. It's closed source. It uses a lot of the API calls and stuff like that. It's very much a Linux-based operating system at the core of it. If you want something that's a little bit more easier and like raw, Pop! OS is a very good one, and you'll pretty much be able to get going in like 20 minutes. But if you're like, I just want easy Linux, it's like, I just want the full fat experience, then you're talking about a GUI, non-GUI environment, and you're talking about command line, which is great, and I love it, and I miss it, and everything like that. If that makes sense.
How did we get here? Oh, we're talking about how the industry sucks. Because
yeah, we're talking about the game industry and how it sucks, and how like people are pissed off about Sweet Baby Inc. and Gamergate 2, and how Rooster Teeth closed down, and yeah, it's. To go back a little bit about that, everything's fucked. The entire industry's on fire, and now we have journalists picking fights with gamers who are choosing tits over video games.
Yep.
Or tits, boobs over video games. And it's kind of hard to blame. It's kind of hard to go, well, you know, I don't know. I think that this is, you know, okay.
You know, yeah.
Yeah. But Josh, you have a game to talk about?
I got, well, 2 game quote unquote things to talk about. I replayed procedural regalia.
Oh my god.
Because it had a map update.
Oh god.
And I was like, oh shit, you have a map in game and I don't have to go to a piece of paper and look at where I'm going.
Uh-huh.
So I booted the game back up and I started to try to figure like, okay, how do I get the map thing to work? Oh, I got to go and find it. And I'm like, shit. Luckily, I actually kind of wandered into the map. So I was like, good, I found the map by accident. And then I was like, oh, because of the map feature, I really felt like I know where I was going finally. And I didn't have to constantly go back and forth with a piece of paper and like figure out where I need to go. Now I could just whip out the map and then be like, oh, I know I'm in this room because it's highlighted. and I know I have to kind of go over in this one direction, so therefore I'm gonna jump over in that direction and all that stuff. And also there's more updates to the game where they added what was it? Added time trials, made the lock-on feature for the camera better, added more key bindings, the air kick, it got better. Like everything about it just got better about it. Oh, and also there's now like more animations for doing certain like speed running tech, because in the game you could do a like do your slide and then go out of your slide into a jump, and then if you want to keep your momentum, you keep doing bunny hops afterwards, and the bunny hops will keep your momentum from slowing down, so you can speed run entire rooms this way of just keeping that momentum up and keep sliding across a room. There's now a specific animation for doing that, which is a nice touch. You guys can see the difference. And like, yeah, like just seeing all these nice little updates to the game and adding the map just makes it so much better. Actually, I realized that I didn't really finish the game, quote unquote, because I was trying to like get all the character, like try to get all of the what was it, magic and like health upgrades and all that junk for, you know, before I finished the game. And now I'm realizing I'm just missing one key to finish the game entirely. And yeah, just going through memory lane with the game and going like, oh fuck, this game's so good. Although the only thing I think the only thing that kind of sucks with the game is that you still have to unlock a lot of your abilities before you can get to that point of like, oh, this character's abilities of like wall kicking and wall running and doing fucking dives off of a really like sketchy jump, but you made it and it's fucking rad. Like, it takes time to get there. So I played that update, and the map update's great.
You love it. It's so good. It makes the game so much better. It's such a great game. It's a game that everyone should play.
It's real good.
Don't forget that there's porn of the main character.
There's so I mean, it
what's the
doesn't
game
help
called
that
again? Psudoregalia?
Psudoregalia. Regalia.
Okay, I'm looking at I pray.
It's PSEUDOR.
Oh, okay, so it's okay. I have 4 minutes in that game.
Yeah, it's a thing where it's like, if you're into platformers, you probably would go through with it. I was into platformers, so I was like, well, I could keep going with this. And once I start figuring out the abilities and where to go, I was like, oh yeah, go back over here and I get this other thing. Cool. Oh, now I got this. Now I can go back over here. Although the one thing I praise the game highly is that you can cheese certain parts of that game if you can figure it out. So it's like, oh, I'm not sure if I can get up there, but then you realize, oh, this wall kick, I unlocked it twice, so I can do the wall kick twice. Could I just like wall kick off of these corners and get up there this way? You can, and the game expects you to do that. Actually, kind of like the game kind of like predicts that you're gonna cheese it, so therefore you can go through with that.
I like how there's an entire sub now called Psudoregalia Rule 34. I would like to think that we created this. This is our fault.
No, this is how cool the game is.
This is our fuck up.
This is everyone's fuck up.
We were the ones who helped get this game so popular.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yes, this is our doing. This is our fucking doing.
There is another title that I should play. I just have to keep putting it off. It's Corn Kids 64. It's basically what if there was a spiritual successor to like every other 64 platformer, but the gameplay of it is just really top notch.
Is it the yo-yo game?
No, it's not. No, Corn Kids 64 is actually a different platforming game from that one, because the entire aesthetic that it looks like it could have came from a Nintendo 64 game, like from that era.
Oh,
And this is another title where I'm like, I should play this because I heard a lot of good things about it. I just haven't bothered to put the time in.
good to know.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I've just been playing Helldivers 2. I haven't even played Halo Infinite this week.
Yeah, I mean, that's good.
Yeah, I'm breaking the addiction.
You're breaking it.
It's breaking. I'm breaking it apart. It's falling apart in my very eyes.
I see.
I totally am not wanting to play more Helldivers because I like Helldivers so much.
Cool.
Yeah. But yeah, no, I've been playing a lot of Helldivers, which you should play with me.
I know. I look at Helldivers and go, I agree. That looks cool.
You're just like, I don't care.
But I'm like, it's a shooty bang bang thing that I'm sure.
Why would anyone give a shit about this game?
Well, the thing I dislike about currently every time. Okay, so with Halo, like way back in the day and all that junk. Although Halo was a little different, but like it feels like anytime friends want me to play a multiplayer, whatever, it feels like we play for like 3 months and then just stop entirely. And it's like, it's not worth my hard-earned cash to play a game for 3 months and then everyone forgets.
No.
Yeah, exactly. And it's just like, man, like I agree these are fun and you do want to play a game with me, but this is just a cycle that keeps happening over and over.
The thing with Helldivers that like I find with Halo Infinite is like I play Halo Infinite by myself a lot because I'm like I just want to play Halo and I enjoy that type of game. Whereas like Helldivers is like a game where it's like when I play by myself I'm like I hate this game. I don't want to play this by myself.
Yeah.
And then when I'm playing with friends, it's like, I'm having a lot more fun where I'm like, oh, God.
Yeah, it's that game where it's like, man, you really have to play with people.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, sure, you could play by yourself, but what? You don't have friends? Like, come on, play with friends. And it's like, that's another thing I dislike with a lot of multiplayer things is like, there's no option to be by yourself and just truck along that way.
Yeah.
Like
it's the game equivalent of like you play it and you're like, I really just want to play this game. And it's the game equivalent of like, oh, it has a lot of FOMO where you're like, I have the fear of missing out.
No.
Whereas like in the actual game, it's like, when you actually play it, you're like, oh, it actually is backing it up. Like it actually is reasonably well designed for what it is.
Yeah, I heard it has a fake battle pass in it.
It does.
Yeah, which is like super interesting to have a fake battle pass. What
do you mean by fake battle pass?
I don't know. I heard it described as fake battle pass. I was wondering if you could fill me on that.
Okay, so it has 2 battle passes.
Okay.
So give me 1 second. I'll bring it up and hopefully this doesn't blow up my recording. But I'm also running like coding software, so it might like flag my account. So that would be funny.
Oh dear.
Okay, so Give me 1 second. So basically, the way the game works is that as you play the game, you get medals. You don't have to submit any money to actually support the game at all. You can collect super credits in the world on missions, doing basically whatever you want.
Cool.
As you play the game and stuff like that, you will gain the battle pass for free.
Oh, I see.
There is currently two battle passes. There's the main one, which is Helldivers Unite.
Okay.
Which, as you play, the game is like basically like throwing shit at you.
Mm-hmm.
So, is throwing you credits, it's throwing you medals, it's throwing you unlocks, and constantly it's trying its best to make sure that you can like play the thing.
Like actually giving you unlocks on a decent rate.
Yeah, it's like, here you go. So like you can see, like I have 13 medals. It has Helldivers Mobilized, which is the initial battle pass, and you can see kind of what I'm talking about, where it's like you have your medals, you have your super credits, and then you have your actual battle pass, which is like right here.
I mean, you're showing this in a audio podcast, so it's going to be hard to.
I'm showing it to my co-host.
Yeah. You gotta remember, like, he's going through menus as he's trying to show me, like, this is where all the shit comes from.
Yeah.
I'm like, cool, but this is an audio podcast, so this is not the best.
Yeah. It's basically like as you play, you're like, you get a bunch of like little things. So my personal opinion is as you play, the game actually gets a lot more as you're playing the game, it actually gets a lot more like easier to go about and play the game. And the way that like the kind of like the fake battle pass kind of works is like you're the way the fake battle pass kind of works is like as you play it, you're like you will collect stuff and gear and get stuff, and you kind of need to do that, and it's kind of the main form of progression because that's how you get like all of the weapons. So yeah. How are you? What are you doing? What
am I doing?
What else is there to talk about?
Magic the Gathering Fallout came out.
Oh boy.
Oh boy. I mean, are you? I was gonna say this is a select group of people who play Magic the Gathering and like the Fallout games. So I'm not sure. I'm not sure what part of the fence you fall on.
I don't like Fallout at all.
Oh, really?
So people think I like Fallout because I actually kind of like. I like the aesthetic of Fallout. I was really excited for Fallout 3. And I hate Bethesda games more than anything else in the world.
Yeah, they're certainly their own breed of genre.
Yeah, like if I had the choice between going to a stripper and getting an STD or playing a Bethesda game and having a relatively good time, I'm going to the stripper 100% of the time.
I mean, you could have not get the STD.
If I have the choice of cutting my balls off or playing a Bethesda game, I'm going to cut my balls off.
Oh boy.
If I have the choice of being on a ship with the front falls off and then being involved and then having a senator talk about the ship with the front falling off, describing it as the ship just, well, the front fall off because a wave hit it. I would rather be on that ship than play a Bethesda game.
Oh God.
So yeah, I don't like Fallout games very much. People are like, you should try New Vegas, and I'm like,
have you played much of Skyrim?
No.
Huh. And okay. I mean, they are the same breed of game, just different.
So the funny thing is I actually own Skyrim. I bought it day one.
Huh.
That game fucking broke me.
Oh.
because everyone's like, why don't you like this? And I'm like, I have 12 hours in Skyrim.
Huh. Okay, how far did you get?
That
You remember. that you even remember.
I don't know. I think I completed the first dungeon, and then I got stuck in a dungeon, and then I was like, fuck this, I'm out.
I see. Yeah, as for like, I could tell you right now, when I played Morrowind and also played Skyrim 3, it was more of like, oh god, I don't know what to do. I don't know where to go. I don't know what I should be doing, yada yada. It was not until like Skyrim that I started figuring out, like, you know what, let me just follow the objectives and just, do this for a little bit. And once I got my footing, I was like, okay, now I kind of know what I feel like I should be doing or what I want to do. Morrowind was a different type of beast entirely, because my god, that game does not help you in the slightest of where to go, tell you or even tell you where to go. There was no there's no compass with like a reticle thing telling you where to go. It was just like, you look in a book and it tells you, go talk to Dave in this city, and that's it. And you're like, where's Dave? Where's the city? And you're like, well, I got the map, and the map says the city is over here, I think. So let me try getting over there. Like, that's the level of obscurity we're getting at with the fucking Morrowind.
I don't hate Morrowind. I think Morrowind's a good game.
Yeah.
But like at the same time, I'm like, why is the Holocaust trend? What the fuck? Sorry. My hatred of Bethesda games is like, man, like, I don't like them because it feels like as if the more I play of them, I'm like, oh, I'm bored.
It's just I was gonna say, you probably hate all the jank that it has in it.
Yeah. Like, it's like, it's something where like when I'm playing a game, I'm like, I don't want to, and some of them are charming, like I like them, but like I don't want to be playing a game and be like, I am stuck doing this thing.
Well,
maybe if like I go back and like I'm like, oh, I'm actually going to play this game and actually sit down and actually enjoy it. It's like, oh, I'm actually enjoying this game and I'm actually going to have fun. I'll probably do that because I probably have changed as a gamer.
I know I got soft locked one point while playing, I want to say Fallout 3, where it was I think it happened in Skyrim too, where you load through a door and you died for no reason.
Yeah. But like my thing with Skyrim has always been like, I think the game is fine.
Yes.
I just know that I am the problem. And it's like,
so going back to the original discussion point of Magic the Gathering made a commander set for Fallout with a whole bunch of unique cards just for Fallout. And
yay, Brotherhood of Steel. Like, I like the Fallout lore, I'll say that much. It's like how like how I like 40k, but I don't want to have anything to do with 40k.
Yeah. You'll probably like the dudes that look like, little heads and giant robotic bodies.
I
and
like
whatever.
The power armor and stuff like that. I would play Fallout. I would probably buy this deck and probably be happy. But
I think I'm on the same kind of thing of like, I like property. I like this IP lore, but my God, I don't like the IP games or whatever, where it came from. Like, yeah, I get that, because that's with like me and like the Freddy franchise,
Five Nights at Freddy's,
because there's a lot of lore and shit through and through with all those games, but it's like, I'm not gonna fucking play these games. I'm not the crowd who actually wants to play them. I think the lore is neat. I like all the weird, like, if you notice this detail in this cutscene, that means a big lore explosion of like, oh, this means this and this and the other thing, and that guy could be fake and whatever. And it's like, wow, you pull all that from that 10 seconds and that cutscene? That's crazy. And like, I think it's just phenomenal about like how they go so in depth with that. It's just that, like, yeah, I'm not gonna play a jump scare game because I just don't like playing spoopy games that, you know, do that jump scare bullshit. It's like, it's not me. That's kind of like me with the fucking Five Nights at Freddy's. Is like, yeah, like, I like the lore. I just don't like I just don't like the games for like a good chunk of them.
I just like the fact that like there was an aged hentai version of that game.
Oh, there was.
I might have played it.
That's
Wasn't very good.
Was there still the jump scares?
Yes. But the jump scares were like, hey, you're watching this, and you're like, okay.
Oops.
It was like all of a sudden you get molested. It's like, don't you want to get molested? I was like,
well, I don't know. I want it, so I don't think it's molesting.
Is it really rape if you want it to?
God damn it. God damn it.
This is you. This is your fault.
Oh, it's yeah, totally my fault.
Hey. I just said I played a hentai game.
But anyway, Magic the Gathering Fallout. I got 2 decks because I was like, wow, these are pretty cool decks, and they do some unique stuff, and they have a unique mechanic called rads. And rads is another type of, you know, there's poison counters in Magic the Gathering that if they get up to 10 poison counters, the person's dead. Rad counters are kind of another set of different counters a player can get, but it's not the total that would kill the player. It's what it does could potentially kill the player.
Okay.
Because it's every time on your upkeep, for how many rad counters you have, the opponent mills the top card of their library, and if it's a non-land card, they lose 1 life.
Mm-hmm.
So it's certainly like, oh, and also because the rad counter, and also on, I think it's on the end of turn, you lose that rad counter, or maybe it's on that upkeep, you go down the 1 rad counter. But it's super interesting of like, oh, it's just like in the video game, over time, you can get rid of your radiation poisoning, or if you have the proper medication or something, you can get rid of your rads that way. And it's like, oh, it's like, yeah, that's cool. Like, it is like the video game of like, this is constant poison over time, and it is kind of, it's milling you / killing you. And like, yeah, like, I think that's a really good flavorful mechanic. And also the other mechanic that makes a callback is a charge counters. Not charge counters. The energy counters make a comeback. Mm-hmm. The energy counters were originally from what's the name of that set? It's one with, there was a whole bunch of inventions, and like this one plane is specifically was all about making inventions and robots and whatever, and it all looked fancy, like looks like you're in India basically, and that whole set was also had a mechanic where they use energy counters, which is a resource used for, you know, activating or using it to like get another ability to trigger off of another card so that you can get a benefit coming out from the card type of thing. And that mechanic was interesting, although that has its own share of things of like, it just didn't quite work. You couldn't opponents couldn't interact with the charge counters because it was an entity in itself, where no card in Magic the Gathering said something about getting rid of charge counters, or I don't think you can proliferate charge counters or the energy counters that in that game at all as either. So there's not really a way of increasing it or decreasing it. It's just there forever.
So you get the charge counters, and then basically you can stack them up, and then you can have like many
you can have, if there's a card that you have in play that says like, hey, if you use 3 of these counters, you can get this benefit off of this card, which would be like, I don't know, draw cards, your creature's now bigger, you get rid of something, whatever the hell the card says. And they use that using the energy counters stuff for the other deck I bought is science. So it actually has the prime. Oh, what's that robot name? There's a scientist from the series, Dr. Madison Lee, which is actually kind of a cool card.
Yeah.
And she's all about science and whatnot. And then you can get Liberty Prime recharged.
Oh man, not Liberty Prime.
It's actually a pretty funny card because it's just a giant fucking robot like shooting off lasers and electricity off of his fists. Like it's a badass card, and it's a pretty doozy card too because it's an 8/8 for 2 blue, red, and white. It has vigilance, trample, and haste, and whenever Liberty Prime recharge attacks or blocks, sacrifice it unless you pay 2 energy. You can pay to tap it and sacrifice an artifact. You get 2 energy and you get to draw a card. So in itself, you could draw cards. So it's real good. It's real good. And yeah, like I think the 2 sets that I bought, one with the.
So hold on, you spent money on this?
Yeah, of course.
Josh, you hate Hasbro.
I do.
Why did you?
But Fallout.
But why?
Fallout.
But no.
But Fallout. And also, I'm kind of helping out the store when I kind of buy these products. So that's the other thing. Card store needs money, so therefore.
No. But no. Like,
I get it. I know I'm feeding the beast, but at the same time, it's like
feeding the beast. Oh man, I'm just enabling shit. I just am enabling the creation of shit. You know, card quality has gone down 25%. Man, there's a new subreddit called Fix Magic. Ah man, it's just filled with people bitching about the foil quality and shit like that.
Yep.
Ah man, I hate Magic the Gathering. By the way, I bought the new Fallout deck because I'm a fucking retard and I don't care.
Because it's a game that is fun. And everyone who plays it kind of plays it as like, it's kind of like Dungeons and Dragons at this point, of like how ingrained it is for like people who play card games. It's usually Magic the Gathering.
I gotta be honest, like the more I play like Dungeons and Dragons, the more I'm like, I get why this is so popular.
Yeah.
But I'm like, man, it's meh.
Oh, so meh.
It's not that it's bad. Well, it is that it's bad. Dungeons and Dragons wants to be. It's a very good game. And if you like strategy and stuff like that, it's fantastic.
Yeah.
But oh my god, do I fucking like if somebody's like, do you want to play Dungeons and Dragons or Battletech? I'm like, I'll play Battletech. Do you want to play? And if they're like, do you want to play like Dungeons and Dragons or Call of Cthulhu? I'll be like, I would rather play Call of Cthulhu because I can actually be a pants on head retard and my character goes insane and dies. So it's like, oh god. But yeah, no, so you bought these Magic the Gathering cards.
Yeah.
And
I'm like, why not buy these cards because I've got to play with them, and they're neat.
Did your dick get bigger or something like that?
I mean, let me check. No, that's the same size.
Oh, that's disappointing.
Yeah, my PP didn't get bigger, but I mean, I get these cool cards that do cool things, and I do like the flavor and the fucking, you know, the cards that they printed, and I get to play in Commander and whatever. Also, yeah, I was gonna say the other deck I also got was Mothman. The Mothman is a card also a character in Fallout series because of the one DLC of going to Pittsburgh.
Oh, the pit.
It's called, the pit. You could run into the Mothman. So it's a cool callback to that, and how the Mothman is now kind of like not integral, but part of that like whole mythos of Fallout, which is super interesting. And yeah, like I don't know, I like the cards. I like the flavor and everything on these cards. They're super neat. And I like card's good. Do I support Hasbro? They suck ass. I think they suck huge amounts of ass. But I mean, I like card products, so I don't know. I'm caught in a rock and a hard place. Liking product.
I like product good.
Yay. Yes, I like product. It's fun. I get to have fun over at Card Store with cards.
I read fun thing. Yay.
Yay.
So yeah, no.
Yeah.
Okay, fine. Jackass. Me.
Yay.
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 Me like Jason. Yay. Yeah, no, that sounds cool. So like, you like the deck? It's fun.
Yep.
Have you played with them?
I have the box. I've been looking through the cards. I haven't had time to play with them yet.
Okay.
But the cards, they look super cool.
Okay. Can I go play Helldivers?
I mean, do you wanna?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you everyone for listening to Black Ranks podcast. Josh broke my brain.
Sure did.
Actually, no, I'm going to change that. So what I'm going to say, Josh decided to support a company that he hates, and is probably the reason why capitalism is not working right now.
I mean, or is the exact reason why capitalism is working?
I hate game. I support company I hate. God damn it.
Yeah.
Why do you support company I hate? Because reasons.
Because they make product that I like.
Because I like product. Fuck you.
Because product is fun and hilarious, and I love product.
Okay. Thank you everyone for listening to the show. You can listen to this every Thursday on blackrangas.podbean.com. You subscribe to us on your favorite podcasting app of choice. I'm gonna go play Helldivers. Fuck off. Oh, also the Oscars happened today. Godzilla -1 won Best Picture.
Good.
As all things good should be.
I mean, we can't have a rampaging Godzilla through the Oscars, so that's why he won.
Best visual effects. What was Best Picture? I swear to God, if it was fucking Barbie.
Oppenheimer?
Oppenheimer
Maybe?
gets Best Picture. Good.
Ah, there we go.
Yes.
Imagine it was Barbie.
If it was Barbie, we're riot. Yes. If it was Barbie, we riot. That's it.
Yep.
Okay. Thank you, everyone. Have a good day. Bye.
Liberty Prime is online. All systems nominal. Weapons hot. Mission: the destruction of any and all Chinese communists. America will never fall to communist invasion. Obstruction detected. Composition: titanium alloy supplemented by photonic resonance barrier. Probability of mission hindrance: 0%. Democracy is non-negotiable. Death is a preferable alternative to communism. Communist detected on American soil. Lethal force engaged. Tactical assessment: Red Chinese victory impossible. Communism is the very definition of failure. Communism is a temporary setback on the road to freedom. Embrace democracy, or you will be eradicated. Democracy will never be defeated.
They're second groups of people who they're like, I hate this person more than anything else in the world. But by golly, dude, their opinions, aren't they great? Now, please, government, man, and it's almost like exactly like what the government says to me all the time. I'm just going to listen to it 110% instead of doing critical thought in order to think that I'm better than you. Huh. And then, instead of actually having an idea of what the fuck I'm talking about, I'm going to pretend that I know everything of that in the world, and then completely fall flat on my face when you realize that I am in fact retarded or a nitwit.
Turns out, I'm partly retarded, and I never got diagnosed with that, whatsoever.
Yeah. It's like, it's funny, because like many of them are like, if they just were like, hey... if people were like, hey man, I'm sorry for being a dipshit and believing the stupid ideology that is based on racism and hatred and makes me hate everything in the world, and thus I cannot enjoy anything that's fun or good in the world because I'm a little bitch, would you please talk to me again? I would probably go, But like, some of them, it's like, I don't want to associate with you anymore because it's like, man, you said that it's okay to rape women.
Oh no.
If the rapist has a dick on them.
Oh no.
And identifies as a woman. And it's like, yeah, if somebody does that, I'm sorry. I'm going to beat the shit out of them, and I don't care who it is.
I'm sorry, but you do bad. You force sex without consent, therefore bad.
Yeah. Like if somebody... okay, like this is something I don't want to think about. But like, let's say it happened to like one of our mutual friends' brother. Who's trans. And he told me, yeah, but like you better hope to God that like I don't have my Mustang because I'm driving out to where he lives, and I am threatening the person with my fucking airsoft gun. And
I mean, if he
hand himself over to the police.
Well, I hope that airsoft gun works out for you.
It's pretty realistic.
I don't know, could someone notice from far away if there's an airsoft?
Probably,
because that would be the problem.
I mean, you've seen it. It looks pretty real.
Yeah.
I mean, like the thing is like I don't have a tolerance for people like that, and like that's my main issue with a lot of those ideologies. Is like, man, it's going to be really tragic when in 20 years. We're sitting there and asking ourselves, why did we take away LGBT rights? And then we're all going to go, oh, yeah. Because
that's not going to 100% going to happen.
I don't think it is. I think what's probably going to happen is you're probably going to see a restriction.
I think what's going to happen is that like maybe like, I don't know, maybe the fucking
like you're already seeing the community kind of divide.
Oh yeah. I'm just kind of I'm just saying like it's a healthcare thing really / person probably just needs the person to talk to.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So yeah,
like like the more people, like I think that like I'm not trying to be a dick or anything like that. I don't want to talk about this stuff because at the end of the day, it's like,
you do whatever.
Yeah, like it's something where it's like I don't care who you're sleeping with as long as you're happy.
Yep.
As long as you're not like sitting there and being a fucking like piece of shit and telling my friends that like they're victims and that they should spend all day being sorry for themselves. Instead of like trying to put their lives back together and actually being happy. Mm-hmm. I give a shit. I don't want to like sit there and listen to you cry about how you're a victim and how your life is terrible and how everyone should feel sorry for you. Meanwhile, instead of going out and actually putting in a little bit of effort, you're sitting there going, you're dragging everyone else down and saying, man, I don't understand why my life's terrible. It's like, oh God, shut up.
Oh, I actually played a video game, but I went back to a video game
Oh, okay.
because they updated it.
You played Halo Infinite?
Procedural regalia.
I know you
'Cause-
did.
Because they actually updated it with map.
Oh, it has
It's-
map now?
It has map.
It has map?
You have to go and find it and unlock it, but it has map.
Map exists?
Map exists.
Map.exe?
Map makes the game actually a lot better and easier to work around. The thing I wish they maybe in another update, maybe if developer feels like it, you can write on the map like certain things that you found, like write a note here saying too high to jump to, or thing here can't open or something. Like I think that would make it even better, but whatever. But still, like I replayed it again because I'm like, it has a map. So I went through and start replaying a bunch of stuff because it's like, yeah, it has a map. And also it has time trials in it too, which is interesting and weird because I'm going through these levels and I'm like, oh, there's more gems in these rooms than I remember, and I start kicking them, start punching these gems, and they turn on the time trial mode, and I'm like, oh, this is the time trial mode. Oh, I gotta turn this off so I don't waste my time with that. I'm sure they're fine time trial modes, but just like I'm just not into it.
Of course you're not.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, no, I basically played Helldivers 2. I also watched a show called The Octopus Murders.
Oh yeah, I could also talk about Magic the Gathering came out with Fallout set.
Oh no, not the Fallout set.
Yeah, it's the video game Fallout, and they came out with Commander decks. And if you wanted to, you could buy the very expensive collector boosters.
Josh, I don't know if you know this, but
They're
currently
$44 a pack.
I'm pouring myself out on the street already to make ends meet.
My butt is spread open.
Nah. My clientele are mainly like lesbians who can't get a girlfriend because I'm close enough.
I'm spread eagle.
God, no. Plus, I say no anal.
Oh, fuck. I got the lube.
$995 for 15 minutes.
So, yeah, I've been looking at these Magic the Gathering cards, Fallout, and they're super rad.
Of course they are.
Yeah, they actually got a lot of references within the game too. So it's like that's the main thing you kind of want, like how flavorful they are towards the source material that they're pulling from. And
Also,
I think they're doing it pretty well.
Also, we got to talk about Kiri Tomiyama.
Oh yes, and how
he
Mexico
died so that National Women's Day would never be recognized again.
God damn it.
I'm not joking. Like, he died. No, he died on the 8th. The announcement was posted on the 8th. And then it was National Women's Day, and everyone's like, man, Akira Toriyama died. It sucks. Akira Toriyama died. And every guy was like, man, Akira Toriyama died. And then it was like, man, National Women's Day just doesn't exist today.
Nope.
And like I was sitting at like my D&D session, and everyone's like, oh, well, you know, National Women's Day was today. And I'm like, and they're like, oh, well, don't you want to say anything? No. And then everyone's like, what's wrong? Well, Kiri Tomiyama died. And they're like, oh, I didn't know you were a Dragon Ball fan. I'm like, I'm not, but still.
He's influential as fuck.
Yeah. It's like, man, a guy who, like, you know, you look at his art and you're like, man, that art's good.
Yeah, like his artwork is influential. Like Dragon Ball was the thing.
Like okay, like we're gonna talk about like two of my favorite mangaka of all time. Like Miura's like art was like one of the best arts ever. Like you look at his art and you're like, oh my god, this is just, it's beautiful. Oh my god, it's so beautiful. Like there's spreads that you look at and you're just like, oh, like I want a print of that. Like, that's just so beautiful and awesome. And Toriyama was like somebody who, like, his art really did translate well to like animation and stuff like that. And you look at it now and like you go, man, like that art translates so well to 3D.
Yeah.
Like, he has such a distinctive style where you're like, oh yeah, like that looks like Japanese anime. Like, that's what I think of. And you're like, wait, hold on. Like,
I mean, there was this funny thing is that I remember the PS2 games of all the Dragon Ball stuff that came out.
yeah.
And I'm like, it'll go, I will just go, oh, that looks cool. It looks like the show, kind of, sort of. The shading is kind of off. It's not until, like, what was it? Dragon Ball Xenoverse?
Yeah.
Fucking that is literally, you're playing the show.
Yeah.
Like, straight up, it's that good looking. Like, when someone really took the time to make it look good, it's like, oh my god, I'm playing the show.
And like, and like, I gotta be honest, like I watched Dragon Ball as a kid. Like, I watched the original Dragon Ball. I wasn't a big fan of Z. I preferred.
I remember watching the original series for a little bit, and then it jumped straight to Z, and I'm like, come on.
And then you watch GT, and you're like, oh, GT's like fine.
Yeah.
GT's okay.
Isn't that the Misadventures in Space?
That is the Misadventures in Space.
Okay.
And basically, like, Goku, basically somebody uses the 7 Black Star Dragon Balls, and it was basically Toriyama was like, okay, I'm done with Dragon Ball. Like, I'm not doing more Dragon Ball. Dragon Ball Z is the final one. They make Goku into a kid again.
Oh, yes.
And then Goku's basically, like, traveling around, and it's Trunks, who's a delinquent. It was supposed to be Goten, who was a girly boy. And the reason why it was Goten and Trunks was because Trunks went into the capsule first, and Goten was like going into the capsule, and I forget who's the Martian guy.
Piccolo.
Yeah, Piccolo's like dragging him to the thing, and his Goku's granddaughter hits the launch button by accident because she's like, I'm going instead.
Yep. Yeah, there was like meant to be the main guys going up in space.
And like Piccolo was like, you see Gohan and he's like, oh yeah, like I'm a master researcher. Like you see him like in the show.
Yeah, he's a scientist.
Yeah, like he's an actual scientist. And he's like, oh, well, I guess I'll go with dad and stuff like that. Like I've been keeping up with my training and all this sort of stuff. I guess I have to take 6 months off work in order to do this thing. And Goten's like, why isn't Gohan going? And he's like, Piccolo's like, well, I convinced him not to go.
Oh.
It's like, oh, okay.
He's a worried dad.
Yeah. It's like, man, like things like that where you're like, man, back in the day, I didn't think we had it this good. Looking back nowadays, I'm like, oh, like we did have it this good.
We ate well. We didn't realize it.
Yeah. Plus, I will say like this very plainly. I watched Naruto as a kid too.
Yeah.
Naruto is mediocre.
I mean, it's definitely a different type of anime. It's not.
If you stop watching right at the Sasuke arc, where Sasuke runs away, it's fine. And then if you go into the new series afterwards, you're like, oh, it's okay.
Just stop right here. Just don't pretend. Just pretend this doesn't exist.
It doesn't exist.
It doesn't exist at all.
If you continue watching after that, good job. You know,
good job.
You're basically doing the equivalent of watching a Seed, Destiny. Anyways, should we start the show?
I think the show started, but we could sync.
You sync in 3, 2, 1.